Hello, everyone, and welcome. We'll call the meeting of the Madison City Commission to order for the meeting of January 7th, 2013. Jen, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Delzer?
Here.
Commissioner Erickson?
Here.
Commissioner Waldner?
Here.
Commissioner Abraham?
Here.
Mayor Hexum?
Here. You have the minutes of the December 27th meeting as a part of your record. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes of the last meeting?
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes of December 27th.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we approve the minutes of the December 27th, 2012 meeting as prepared. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. You have the agenda for this meeting before you. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we approve the agenda for this meeting as prepared. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Under appearances, acknowledgements, and correspondence, we do not have any items listed. And I believe with your permission, we'll declare this to be 5:35 and we'll move forward to the process of old business. We have a hearing scheduled on two resolutions. One is the proposed Resolution 2013-1, Resolution of Necessity for Sidewalk Improvement. Number 2013-1, this is the portion of the proposed sidewalk improvement from West Avenue from 2nd Street Northwest to 1st Street Southwest. I believe the proper procedure for this is that we would first call for a motion and a second, and then we will open it up for discussion of any affected parties here. Is that satisfactory with procedure with the commission? Okay. So, resolution number 2013-1.
I'll move the adoption of proposed resolution 2013-1.
Second.
There is a motion and a second that we approve the proposed resolution number 2013-1, Resolution of Necessity for Sidewalk Improvement. And at this point in time, I would announce that there's nothing in our packet regarding the property owners on this section of proposed improvement, right, Chad? All of the written comments came on the
Correct.
on the second resolution of the Southwest First Street portion. So this is the north-south portion from West Avenue from 2nd Street Northwest to 1st Street Southwest. And those properties are listed on the resolution. At this point in time, I would ask if there's anyone in the audience who has either question or concern or wishes to speak pro or con on that particular resolution and those particular properties, you are certainly invited to do so. If you wish to speak, I would like to have you give your name and address or the property that you're concerned with, and then for recording purposes, because we record the meeting for rebroadcast, I would like to have you come forward to the table so that all in the room can hear and we can get a proper recording of your wishes and response. So at this time, is there anyone here present that wishes to comment on that particular resolution and those particular properties?
Well, I'm not sure which.
Okay, this is, I don't know, what is your address?
1313 Southwest First Street.
Okay, that would be on the second resolution then. You're on the south, that's on the east-west portion. Okay. We're only concerned at this point in time then with this motion on the north-south route. Okay. Because there are two pieces to the to the affair. Okay.
Call the question.
Okay, the question has been called. Hearing that there are no questions or concerns on that motion then, all in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Moving then to number 2 under old business. This is the hearing on proposed resolution number 2013-2, resolution of necessity for sidewalk improvement. And this concerns the proposals moving from First Street Southwest and West Avenue to Ram Heights Drive west along Southwest First Street in that portion of what is called Sidewalk Improvement 2013-2. We have received comments from several individuals along that route, and those are a part of your record. I don't think we need to read those. I would, though, like to acknowledge that we have written comments from Bonnie and Earl McDaniel in opposition to their parcel. Margaret Buchholz, I hope I pronounced that right, of 1404 Southwest First Street, opposed. Mark Johnson on the, along Southwest First Street, in opposition to the project. Doug Vanderwerf, along the First Street Southwest, in opposition, I believe, stating correctly there. And from Dave Fiedler, that would be along at 1321 Southwest First Street, and those will be entered into the record of the meeting. But if you are here and wish to have additional comments, I would certainly invite that. But moving to that proposed resolution then 2013-2, I would need a motion and a second first, and then we'll have discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we approve proposed resolution number 2013-2, resolution of necessity for sidewalk improvement. Okay, at this time, and then I would ask that any persons present would be invited to speak to the motion. And
Margaret Buckles.
okay, could you come up? Yeah, the microphone won't pick up all parts of the room, so if you would.
Okay, I live at 1404 Southwest First Street.
Okay.
I'm right on the corner of Ram Heights and First Street. Mine is a cedar house, actually, belonged to Mayor and their daughter when it was first built. And I guess I'm opposed to the sidewalk only because from where I live, there are no kids further west of me. You're gonna go to the elevator, you're gonna hit Iverson's mess hole down there. There's no reason for people to be running down there, walking. My kids take the bus home, they cross over onto Don Vogel's. They're the only ones who have to really cross the street over to my corner, because there's nobody else further down that has children. I mean, I could put the sidewalk in, it will need probably a retaining wall, because my lot is pretty graded down that way. Most of the kids up in our area, there are a few people who take the sidewalk, but there are so many empty lots up in there, it's all chopped up anyway. They don't, there's 2 empty lots in between Vogel's house, and I don't really know who the next one is up in Ram Heights. We have a few, young families up there, but for the most part, there's not a lot of traffic in our area where I guess I don't see the point of putting all that extra sidewalk in. I guess that's my feeling, but
Okay.
there's a lot of other areas where I've seen sidewalks need to be put in. I mean, my comment was, I grew up on Northeast Fifth Street, and for the 10 years I walked to Washington School, there was no sidewalk for us to take down by past Winks, Abowicks, let alone my own family, Layton, I mean, that's a more populated area with a lot more families. I mean, our area is pretty small, and there's no place to go further west, but to the elevator. So, that's my concern. Thank you.
You are on the north side of the street, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, but you are just west of Ram Heights?
Yes.
The west
So you're telling me I
entrance.
just need to put sidewalk on the one side?
Mhm.
Because I know when Mousetraps had it before, they had argued the case, you know.
You do have sidewalk on one side?
No, I don't.
No, okay,
Nope, no.
okay.
No, it was not asked for the front side of my house, just the west, or the
Okay.
east side.
Okay, thank you. Mhm. Anyone else? Your name,
Earl McDaniel.
McDaniel?
I live
Okay,
at,
thank you.
1313 Southwest First Street. I'm on the south side of the street. Graham Heights is north of me. There is already a sidewalk across the street, but they did not finish it to the east, to the curb. So, like she said, there's only a few children around there. They didn't finish it, and it would have been fine if they would have put the sidewalks in before this happened, when they did the street. Done it all in one shot, rather than coming back to do it again. So I look at it as just a waste of money. It just didn't finish it on the north side. Because my yard, they would have to do a lot of landscaping because it slopes so badly from the street down.
Yeah.
It's approximately about a 4-5 foot drop off. It slopes. So it costs more than what it's really worth. If they wanted to finish the sidewalk, just finish it out on the north side from Ram Heights to Highland Avenue if they wish. But on the south side, there isn't that many houses there. So, to me, I look at it as a waste of money, putting it on both sides. So,
Okay,
that's just my view.
okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay. Someone else? Okay,
I'm Dave Fedler, I'm here for my daughter, who lives at 1321.
okay, Dave?
First off, I'd like to know what the criteria is, why you decided that area. I mean, it's not very, like everybody says, it's not populated, there's no schools there, no churches. I'd just like to know why they picked that area out.
Mr. Mayor, I can speak to that a little bit.
Okay,
We have a sidewalk committee that's been in place for a number of years. It's made up by just average citizens in Madison. The mayor and I sit as ex officio members of the committee. We don't set the agenda for the committee. We don't vote. We just attend the meeting and listen to the discussion. Is Chad, is Roy who's the chair?
We don't have a chairman.
Chairperson per se.
Per se, correct.
And what these people do is, they look at Madison. I know Miss Layton, Miss Buchholz lived over on Fifth Street. We put sidewalks on Sixth last year. They're looking at trying to connect areas of town, you know, from one area of town to the other. So they go all over town. They're not just picking on, they're not gonna say, we're gonna pick on the rich folks up up the east side, or we're not gonna pick on the west folks. They look at the whole town as a whole. Your area was looked at along with the last resolution that went up and down north and south on West Avenue in Chicago, as traffic from that area up to the pool and the water park area. And that's where that all came from. There were comments at the meetings that I attended, and I attended all the meetings of the sidewalk committee that I believe, that there was some concern about the Ram Heights area being a developed area, you know, with a cul-de-sac in there, and you got a lot of houses in there, and it's just kind of out there, not connected to Madison. If you want to get there, you either have to, you know, take a car into town, or you got to walk in the street. And so that was kind of the idea. I'm just relating to you what the discussion was. I'm not telling you that I said we ought to build sidewalks out there. I'm just telling you that committee looked at all the options, and they made a decision to make this recommendation. That's where it came from. It came from people like you, and if you want to be on the committee, we can make it happen.
Well, I'm not,
Anybody want to raise their hand out there, volunteer and be on the committee?
I think one of the
Don't see any
things that's really
volunteers.
important that everybody needs to understand is every block in town is eventually going to get sidewalks. So it wasn't a case of, you know, they look at it and they try to figure what needs to be done next. Now, we can all sit around and say, well, that road should have had it more than that one, more than that one, but we've got a committee that's looking at everything. So it might be that you think the road you know, on the other side of town needs it, it's gonna happen. It might not be this year, it might not be next year, but it's for all of us. I have a property that will need it. Everybody in town, there's eventually gonna be a day where it's gonna hit your property. This group, we task them to make the best decisions on what is the next most important. Again, we can all pick on, you know, should it be this property, should it be that property? It might only delay a property by a year if we flip-flopped it, if the commission had said, you know, really, I'd really rather have this. Everybody's gonna get sidewalk. That's the end goal. If you are inside the city limits, you are a member of the city of Madison, there are certain things that go along with that. That is providing infrastructure. Sidewalk is an infrastructure. If it's one kid that has to walk on the road compared to the sidewalk, that one kid is no less important than 10 kids. Okay, this isn't for me. I'm okay, I can walk on the roads. But if we make one kid, and it's not for the summertime, it's for the wintertime, because that's when it's the most dangerous to have these kids all bundled up, and we're all bundled up, and we may not have scraped our windshield, and we got snowbanks, and we have them walking down the sidewalks. And it's gonna take years to get all the way through it. But every year, we're gonna do it. And so, this particular year, this is a road that was chosen. It could have easily been 4 years down the road, or it could have been 12 years down the road. But this road eventually was gonna get chosen. It just so happens this was the year. Dick loved to tell us that last year it was the road that he was on.
I've done all my properties.
I mean, so
God's
it just
looking for more,
happens.
But I've got all mine done.
Another point I have on this too, though, is it hasn't been that many years since we put the street in. You know?
I think we'd have to go
The city
back
did
and
a
look
pretty
at
good job
that.
Putting that street in
It's
for
an
you, didn't
excellent
they?
street, but
It's
what
an
I'm
excellent
saying
street,
is-
and it was put in a very unusual way, that the landowners out there didn't contribute as wholeheartedly as the rest of us in the city do for the other streets. I know that for a
That's
fact.
very true, but there's still people like my daughter is a single income, and, people are still paying for that street, and then I think it's an undue burden to add a sidewalk to them at this time. I mean, if you want a sidewalk, wait till that's cleared up and then go with the sidewalk.
Do you know, how long before that particular?
Special assessment on that,
No.
we'd have to check.
And I'd
Yeah,
have
you'd
to check.
And I'm not saying the second the special assessment quits and go ahead and put the sidewalk in. You got time to recover. I realize that you say that we got a pretty good deal, which we did, and I'll agree with that.
I did get that
But
deal.
it's still $7,500, you only make X amount of dollars,
I
and you do
understand.
have to pay it, you know. And
But what Commissioner Delzer is telling you though is, we have maps that the sidewalk committee gets of the whole city of Madison, and Chad has done an excellent job. They've walked the city, and they know where all the sidewalk breaks are, and it shows, you know, where sidewalks are in and where they're missing. And this committee just looks at this, and they're trying to connect these dots, and you know, they've done it up in the northwest part of town, they did it on West Avenue where I live, because of the middle school, they've done it on Chicago, getting the grade school traffic going up there, from the apartments in the northwest part of town. They're not picking on people, they're people just like you, looking at the city and trying to do the best job they can at making recommendations.
well, I don't feel like I'm being picked on. I think it's a matter of economics, basically. I mean, you pay for the road, and then you turn around, you have to pay more for a sidewalk right away. I just feel that that's being kind of an undue burden. I think you need to look at the whole picture a little more, you know. You say you pick out an area and we'll decide to put sidewalks here at this time, and that's fine, I guess, but I don't think you have the foot traffic out there to warrant making everybody pay another pay another assessment, or is it possible to put it in yourself?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
That's
without a contractor.
Yeah, you can do it yourself.
Just, all it has to do is meet the codes. That's,
Yeah, you can talk to, a lot
yeah,
of people.
you can have your own
A lot of
contractor, you
people-
can hire the city's contractor, you could do it yourself.
My neighbors put their sidewalks in, so it's,
Yeah,
you know.
Chad has Chad's got all of the schematics and everything here, the requirements that are needed, so all it has to do is meet the specs.
Well, that's fine, but she can't afford the cement level if somebody else put it in. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Is that
The city can, we do finance, but, I mean, there is a fee for that.
Yeah, I
The city
did
will
that
put in,
once with the road, let's skip that.
you know.
And I'm not being rude, that's just.
No, I understand that. I'm just telling you that it's Wheel of Fortune, folks, and it comes up, and we could be sitting here with, you know, we could march all you folks out, marching the people from Fifth Street, and they'd be saying, you know, you gotta put that road in over there on Southwest First, those people don't have any traffic, and I've got people, Margaret, in your neighborhood that tell me that they shouldn't have a sidewalk up there because nobody walks, and you're telling me that's where they all walk, so it all depends on whose ox is being
Well, I'm
born.
not telling you to pick somebody else out and stick a sidewalk on, I'm just saying I don't think it's
Yeah, and-
necessary out there at this time.
Yeah, well, that, I mean, like I said, that was, the conversation, all I'm doing is repeating what the conversation was, the mayor, I know was there too. The conversation was that they were concerned about the Ram Heights people getting in, you know, that area, I drive out there occasionally and look around, there seem to be quite a few houses. I don't know how they get to town, I can't imagine that they walk north up to the Highway 34 and walk into town, so they gotta get to town
I've
somehow.
never seen one of them walk up there, most of them got cars.
Well,
That's beside
yeah,
the point.
everybody does, but, you know, there's also, you know.
I understand what you're doing, I just think it's the wrong time to do it.
Okay.
Is your property the farthest west on
Yes, it is.
the south side of the road?
Yeah,
You're the end property on the Southwest First, on the south side. Okay, I think I know where.
but this pertains to my daughter's places, which is straight south of Ram Heights.
Oh, okay, oh, you're in a different, you personally are in a
What's the
different-
last name on that?
Fedler.
On your daughter's?
Oh, Alverson.
Oh, thought I was going crazy. Wasn't able to find it, okay.
Okay, others? Okay,
I'm Beth Mayer, and I live at 1211 Southwest First. I feel like Dave does, having another assessment this soon after we did a street, is probably a burden on a lot of people. But my concern is, if I had to choose, I would put a sidewalk in front of my house. My concern is the other 600 and some feet that I have to put a sidewalk in front of to get to Highland Avenue. It's not that we just own a house there. I mean, when we built our house there, it was a rural area. We were not part of the city of Madison. And right when we got our house built, after we had put in our sewer system, after we had paid all of those other things, the city annexed us into the city. But we own that whole corner. And so for us, it's 690 feet of sidewalk. It's not just 110 feet in front of a house. So I'm opposing to it for the simple fact that it's gonna cost us 4 times what it costs everybody else to put it in. And I agree with Dave. I watch where the kids walk. They come down there, they head kitty corner up right across Bill Beck's lot. They don't go to the corner and walk on the sidewalk, the few kids that are out there. I have grandkids that live next door to me, and I still think that it's an undue burden to put another expense on everybody that lives out there. If there was a way you could figure it out so we could put it in front of our house, okay, I'm good with that. But 700 feet, I'm not good with that. And Jack couldn't be here tonight because he's ill, so that's why he's not here to speak on our behalf too. But I agree with Dave, I just think it's too soon, and I think our timeline, Dave, is like 6 years on.
Yeah,
It's been
I'm
about
not
6
sure
years
what
since
it
we
is.
did the street. And I realize that, Dick says we didn't pay for the street like everybody else does. No, okay, it was $11,000, $12,000, $13,000 is what we paid, I think, on the street.
I'm not saying you didn't pay, I'm saying you
But it
didn't,
was-
you didn't pay the same as everybody
It
else.
was 11% interest too. So, I mean, there's different ways to look at it. I mean, it's a terrible expense. And I know Scott says everybody's gonna get sidewalks eventually. Okay, but what about all this extra footage that you own for commercial property and?
We can go around town, you wanna go down and
What-
talk to
what do you
Pat
mean by-
Costello about his?
But I'm not, what do you mean by that? I guess I'm not sure what you're saying. Just
Well, I'm just saying that if I had to put a sidewalk in front of my house, okay, but to do 700 feet is just.
But what about the commercial property? I guess I'm not clear on what that statement meant.
Well, I'm saying part of this plan is that we have to put the sidewalk in front of our commercial property too, or on the north side of the north side of the commercial property, right?
Yes, yeah.
And I don't know, I guess I wish at this time there was just another way to do it that didn't involve putting in all 700 feet at one time. So,
And as far as the commercial, like Dick was saying, we haven't, there's lots of people that have businesses that have had to put it in as well and have had, at least.
Including Dick last year.
But, that have
I
had.
Commercial property, Bev, I have a corner lot in Main Street, and I had to do mine. That's the rub of the green. If you have commercial property, you have commercial property. And I'm not trying to be flippant, I'm just telling you, it's just the way it is. I mean, if you have property, that's part of the burden that goes with it. And the timing, when is the timing ever gonna be right? I don't know.
well, probably giving people a chance to pay off what they already have as a debt for a street might, like Dave said, might help.
I don't think that entered into, I'm not gonna,
I'm sure it didn't enter into the
it didn't enter into the
sidewalk.
discussion
I'm sure it
for
did
the
not.
sidewalk committee. They just looked at the area and said that we think this is an area we should go to. And I don't think anybody, had any agendas. That's where they just said that that's where that's where it came up.
Okay, another one? Okay, Doug?
I'm Doug Vanderwerf, and my property is also commercial, and it's gonna go over a parking lot, and I just personally don't see, it'd be like laying a tile floor over a wood floor. I don't see the difference between, I just don't know what you're gonna gain by putting a parking, or a sidewalk over the top of the parking lot. You can already ride your bike over it, you can roll it right over it if you want. That just doesn't make sense to me. And then also, there was a pole in the corner there that got knocked down 5, 6, 7 years ago. A truck went by, and a utility pole. So I'm assuming the city is gonna come and finally get rid of that crap that's sitting in the corner that's been sticking out the whole time, if I do have to do it. I'm not gonna have to pay to have the utilities buried there, am I? Me considering,
No, most of the
Nothing's been done with
the utilities will be the responsibility of the respective utility company.
okay,
And then as far as the parking lot is, if the condition of the asphalt in this case is, is acceptable and generally meets our sidewalk inspection program standards, then you can use that surface as your, and you don't have to tear up the asphalt to put in the concrete. It says in that resolution that you need to stripe it. Now, if it's in deteriorated or unacceptable condition, that's, like an example this year would be Campbell Supply. That, they put that in this year as part of a similar process, and their asphalt was not in suitable condition to meet the standards, and so they did actually excavate out a narrower pathway, so to speak, and then they put concrete in there. But if theirs would have been in good shape, and if yours is in good shape to meet the standards of the sidewalk inspection program, then you would not have to do that. So we can look at that probably in the spring, and to get an evaluation of that,
okay. And I got one other thing, and I'm not trying to start an argument, and I'm not gonna argue with anybody about this, but, and I'm not gonna comment, and I'm just gonna say what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna sit down. The sidewalk committee came up with a recommendation of where to do this, and, I don't really have that much skin in the game, I just got that little piece there. But the fact that this area was chosen, almost seemed like it was chosen more because there was fewer squeaky wheels out in our area than there would be if another area of town was
Trust
chosen.
me, your area you can go as far the opposite of that when you talk about squeaky wheels. So I'll end that right there.
No, what I'm saying is there isn't as many people there, I'm thinking, and like I said, I'm not gonna argue with you, but there was less impact. in our
Well, you
area.
can't say it, and not argue with it. So you don't get to say it, and not hear my point of view on it. So we've had plenty of streets where nobody talks and plenty of streets where people have talked, so it's a flip of a coin
And
at
that-
that point.
and
And
again-
they don't have to put up with anything. I'll be honest with you, ain't nobody sitting here from the sidewalk committee worried about it. So they don't pick a spot based on how they're gonna get their butt chewed. The only ones who get it are right here, and we don't pick it.
Well, I'm not-
we just back it. So I think that's very-
You're a representative of the sidewalk committee, aren't you?
No.
Sit on it?
No,
Dick,
Mayor and I do.
No,
sit on it, but they don't vote.
no, we're not voting members. We're,
And I.
We just
and
sit
my-
in.
I
my
wasn't
com-
pointing
my-
a finger at you.
No, I know.
was just making a statement.
My
Okay,
comment
well-
to you though is that doesn't enter into their decision-making. They don't say, let's go here because that nobody will complain, or there's fewer people.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not part of it. And you're all, these meetings are open to the public, they're published, and you can come, you know, and you can come and have input.
But I wasn't picking on you, Scott.
You see, the tough part for me is, who gets a free pass? Who gets an exemption and who doesn't? Is commercial property more important or less important than residential property? Is residential more important than commercial, you know, et cetera, et cetera? You know, it's who gets a free pass. I've owned 3 residential properties in Madison. I've had sidewalks on all 3. I didn't enjoy 1 minute of it. They're a pain to keep up, they're a pain to keep clean, they're a pain to remove the snow and ice from. I put in 225 feet of sidewalk. When I constructed, I didn't ask for a free pass. I could have easily said, hey, nobody walks in front of my house, nobody has ever walked there, nobody walks there now, nobody will ever walk there, but it's just fine to have that sidewalk across the street in front of my neighbor's house. That's the best place for it. But who gets a free pass? You can't have any continuity. That's why we have this hit and miss situation all over Madison, because for at least 50 years, that's the way it's been done. Hit and miss. You got sidewalks for a block here, then you go a block and a half, and there's no sidewalk. How come? Because we never had a plan to get it done. And Scott's 100% right. I don't know if it'll be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but sooner or later, we're going to get it done. And I just predict that. Now, when will North Liberty come? I don't know. We have to see. We go 1 year at a time. We don't go out 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. But we go 1 year at a time.
Mr. Mayor, part of what goes into the equations, folks, is there's tax dollars spent, because where we go, we have to put the corner approaches in, and they have to be ADA approved, and they, you know, so you've seen us take some of them out that aren't where you have the ADA ramps put in, and so we can only afford to do so much, and that's your tax dollars doing that. So, I mean, we usually spend about 35 to 40,000, don't we, Chad?
Right.
As the city's share of that. And that kind of dictates, you know, how far we can go. It doesn't say where we go, but it tells us what areas, you know, how big a block can we do. That's why we don't do, you know, the whole 1 quadrant of town at the same time. We're limited in what we're spending as far as your money. We're trying to do that piecemeal as well. But I think that most of the commissioners that I've served with have not wanted to break faith with prior commissioners. They wanted to hold the course. They've said, well, all the people that have had it done, then we're gonna say, okay, now we're gonna just stop, and then nobody else in the future has to do it. I think if there's a commitment to get it done, it's gonna get done, as the mayor said. I think that's kind of what we've done. Now, you vote us all off, you can, you know, tear up all the sidewalks, and everybody can walk the street. But I don't know if that's progress.
I would, unless there's any other comments, I would like to request Mr. Erickson to amend his motion. I'd really like to have 1 week to look. There is a couple points here that I'd like to look farther into before we vote on this.
I think it was.
Was my
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry.
Yeah.
But you can table it now, right?
We already have a motion on the floor, David.
Right.
There's a motion and a second on the floor.
On the floor.
So the
We're-
current motion either needs to be amended,
Or deferred.
or if you want to make the motion, you can make the motion to table, and then we can vote on that.
We can table it for a week, that's fine. by me.
Well,
Yeah,
there's-
Okay,
there's a couple
before-
points there
before
I'll
we-
look into.
Before we get to that point, is there anyone else who wish to make a comment? Mr. Johnson? Okay.
No comment. Couple of questions. Dan Johnson, Johnson Brothers Excavation, 1020 Southwest First. This push with the sidewalks over the last, how many years? 5, 7?
Oh, it's
Started
been,
in '04.
Is there any connection to that with receiving federal money for grants on other projects?
No,
There-
no.
Okay. And then is there any ordinance or anything that if a sidewalk is available, that somebody in the street has to use the sidewalk? Walking?
Not that I'm-
Other than common sense, and if you get in an accident, you might be your own risk.
That's what I was kind of,
I hear the comment all the time that we have sidewalks and people continue to walk in the street.
yeah, and it's even worse than that. I mean, 9th Street, I take home after work sometimes. Unusual hours of business, I'll go home at 10:30 at night. College kids are running straight down the center of the street.
You're talking joggers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that too. I mean, there's, you know, we're not here to be the smart police and tell people where they should walk. We're here to make it available to them where they can walk safely. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I guess as long as you're making people put the sidewalk in, maybe you gotta make the people use the sidewalk. Would that be something that would be considered an ordinance for that?
Don't we have a jaywalking ordinance?
We do, I do believe we have a jaywalking ordinance. I haven't looked at it for a long time, but I think there is one.
So if I made a phone call or two, that'd be taken care of.
You want to sign complaints?
Yeah, I would. Is that,
Well, you can talk to the police and you can talk to the city attorney's office.
all right.
Okay?
Thank you.
If Nick's motion is to table, there should be a second.
Okay, wait,
Well,
I haven't
Can we
taken a
finish
motion
discussion
yet.
first?
I-
Yeah.
Can we
Right,
finish the discussion before we get to
Absolutely.
another
There'll need to be a
motion?
second to proceed on the motion.
Okay, anyone, next, anyone else wish to make a comment?
I'd like to add one thing.
Okay?
Nobody sitting here asked for a free pass. We just said that the road's being paid for yet. We'd like to have that taken care of before the sidewalk. I think the free passing was,
Well, I don't think anybody's asking for a free pass. I think that what we're saying is, the question is, do we defer you because, you know, on what basis? Because if we go somewhere else, someone else is gonna have a good reason to say they don't wanna do it either. And so the question becomes, what is a legitimate reason? And I think that what you've raised, and I think what Commissioner Delger is saying is that the conversation about your assessment and how long your assessment's been, hasn't been discussed. It wasn't an issue. Wasn't even discussed.
I do think that's a valid point.
Yeah.
I was
Wasn't
unaware of that,
discussed-
and I,
Wasn't discussed by the sidewalk.
I
committee.
just.
yeah, I don't think it was anybody's intention to,
Yeah. They
you know,
were- they were
put it
talking-
on you and then
yeah.
put it on you again,
No,
so.
and I just didn't think the free pass thing was, I don't think anybody here asked for one.
No.
Well, that's probably a misnomer and so forth, but we'll say, how about the word exemption? Why should my property be exempt or my neighbor's property exempt and I'm in and they're out, and so forth? We don't have an exemption process on this, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, or, you know, whatever the category is.
See, and I don't really think I argued that somebody else would do it. I think it's more or less, I just want to take care of mine, you know. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not asking you to. take
I-
care
What
of
I'm
mine
hearing, what I'm
somewhere
hearing
else.
from you folks, a little bit is necessity. You know, we get that one all the time. We don't think anybody's gonna walk in this. We hear that from everybody. But your argument today is it the proper timing? Is it because
Yeah.
of assessments and other things? And I think that's what Commissioner Delzer is maybe trying to explore, at least look into it.
I appreciate that too, thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm gonna make
Yes,
a
ma'am?
comment. About the public utility boxes that are above ground, how do you plan on going about using, remodeling, excavating, landscaping, however you wanna put it? Because there's a lot of utility boxes out there. They're in front of our place, it's 1313 Southwest First Street. And the utility boxes are out there, the land, light post is out there. All of these boxes are above ground.
Well, you can talk to Chad about that, but generally, the rule of thumb is that the sidewalk is a 4-foot top to it,
4'8".
or 4'8", and it starts, I think, 5 feet from the inside line, is it?
That's as close as we'd like to try to stay.
It's as close as you want. We don't like to have them closer than 5 feet to the inside curb line. You have to understand, I'm sure you do, that a lot of the property that we're talking about here is public right-of-way. It's your yard, you get to mow it and have all the fun in it, but it's public right-of-way. And that's why the sidewalks are going in the public right-of-way. And you can place them, you know, and hopefully they'll go around your utility boxes. I'm assuming that when these boxes were put in, they were put in.
No, they weren't put in there.
The street lamp is within a matter of inches of the curbing, and then you have big power box, and then you have a couple of feet, if that, and then you have the cable and TV and telephone in another box, and I don't know if there's really enough space to run it through in between them.
Well,
That's
I mean, that's something we'll
That's
take
an
a look
individual
at.
thing you're just gonna have to check on.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise, it, like I said,
Right.
it drops through a hollow between my property and the property to the east of me.
And Chad, can you explain our process if there's undue variances in the, you know, retaining walls, things of that nature?
Yeah, it talks about it in the resolution, but if there's, it anticipates that the cost would be relatively uniform, so to speak. I get the exact language isn't that, but if there's an inordinate amount of fill or cut or a retaining wall and similar such matters, then the city participates to offset those costs. And of course, we look at every property owner and work with the property owners to be reasonable as well. We can't, you know, just put in retaining walls or take out trees as a preference, because there's, like Commissioner Erickson mentioned, there is a corridor, in this case, in this property, there's about a 14 and a half feet wide area to weave that sidewalk in, so to speak, in there, and then, so if there's encumbrances or things in the way, that we'll work with them, and we work with utility companies to relocate things as well, within reason, and I do believe in, you know, you and I met over there, I think
Well,
there's.
it's just that, we
yeah.
just wish that they would have put the sidewalk through when they put the curb and gutter in.
Right.
Then we wouldn't have to worry about all this, and it would have been done and over with.
Yeah. And I think at that time, they asked not to put it in because it was an added expense. So it's kind of it's how it always comes around, you know?
Wow.
And it's unfortunate that we got to deal with it now, but we've had to do that a number of times where it was a great, you know, what seemed to be a great idea 15 years ago or whatever, you know, on another project, today may not sound like such a great idea when you have to deal with it again. And that's just the way things work out. And we're at a point where there is no sidewalks and we can't go back and put them in, so.
To my knowledge, sidewalks were never discussed when the street was discussed. Was it, Dave? I don't think we ever talked, there was never any talk of sidewalks when we were dealing with the street.
Okay.
So that's what I'm worried about, because my front yard, it slopes so steeply.
Well, there again, going back to what Chad's telling you is, the idea of the resolution and the ordinance is that to make everybody put in a sidewalk that would be similar on a flat surface. If you have, if somebody has a problem, the cost should be what it would be like to put it on a 4-foot, 8-foot sidewalk linearly on your property.
That's what
If you have
worries
problems,
me.
well, if there's gonna be extraordinary costs, the city does it. We were scheduled, folks, to put sidewalk along the south side of Second Street from, if you think about where the subway is, to Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
You know where that is? You know what that looks like? The Mooses used to live on that house up on the hill and all that stuff. We were scheduled to do that last year, this last year.
Right.
And the state of South Dakota came in and said, well, folks, we're gonna redo the whole highway through Madison, and we're gonna widen it. So that came off the table. That was gonna be done. And it's pretty hard to argue that there shouldn't be a sidewalk on the south side of that highway between those places. But we, you know, and we would've had one there, but for the state of South Dakota coming in and saying, we're gonna build a highway there. And we're gonna tear that up. So we would've been putting in sidewalk and tearing it out the next year. So, but there, the point being is, that if you look at that slope, we knew that we could only do so much work that year because the city was gonna have to fork a bunch of money into building a wall to keep the wall up for the sidewalk. So that's, I mean, that's part of the thought process. And again, I have a sign-up sheet here for the sidewalk committee, and I'm happy to take anyone's name that would love to serve. I've offered it every time people have come, and I've never had a taker yet. So, I mean, but the meetings are open, and these people are citizens like you, and they're doing the best job they can to try and be as objective as they possibly can. So they don't have an agenda, they don't have a vendetta against anybody. They look at the map and they say, let's kind of look at this area. What can we afford, where can we go? That's what we're doing. It's unfortunate that the wheel came up to Southwest First Street.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone else have a comment? Okay, hearing none?
Then I would move to table my motion for 1 week.
Second.
Okay, the motion is made and seconded that we table action on proposed resolution number 2013-2, resolution of necessity for sidewalk improvement, for 1 week. Any questions or speaking on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor?
Do we need any further action on, okay.
Mr. Mayor, I guess, incident to that motion, I'm assuming that we'd get some information that would be sent out by the finance office to tell us where we stand on the special assessments on Southwest First Street.
Absolutely.
And we'll look at these different situations that have been brought up tonight, the utility placements, et cetera, and see where that goes, okay?
One more thing. The new construction that happened on Southwest First Street, is commercial property different? Is there a reason there wasn't sidewalk? If you build a new house, you have to put sidewalk in. The commercial building, you don't have to?
Right.
Okay.
No, it depends on, perhaps the total vacant lot versus, undeveloped, or if it's partially developed already. For example, if somebody's putting a garage on an area where they already have some developed, it hasn't been interpreted that that triggers them to install sidewalk along that entire frontage. If it's entirely vacant lot, then the requirement is there to do that. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. That concludes the old business. Moving on to new business. Number 1, Community Anchor Institution Sub-Grant Award Agreement, South Dakota Bureau of Information and Telecommunications. Okay. Jen?
Yes.
We have the information here. You've given us some explanation, but give us a briefing.
Okay, we have applied and have been awarded a grant through the South Dakota Broadband Initiative, which is facilitated by the South Dakota Bureau of Information and Technology. I'm going to talk numbers here quickly, and then I'm going to defer to Commissioner Waldner for a little bit of technical explanation on this. Total grant award that we have received is $6,733, and we are required to provide an in-kind match, which, after more conversation with Mike today, we have determined that the maximum amount of city funds that we'll have to spend on this is $1,683. We do expect that to be substantially less, as we can do some in-house employee labor with this. Technically,
I'm really bummed. Everybody left for the good part. Why did you chase them off there, Commissioner Erickson?
Yeah, right. Just
Yeah,
offer them a job.
this is a great thing for the city of Madison, and one of the nice thing about this is that it is a grant. It's a technology grant. It's a broadband grant, and ultimately it's something that the Bureau of Information Telecommunications is doing all across the state. City of Madison, I believe, was one of 26 entities that also received this grant. And for us here in Madison, number 1 is it'll help secure our networks, city government network, all of the outlying departments and everything. It will tie them all together in a secure manner. And then by tying them all together, it'll help the city departments so they can share information, share databases a little easier. Some of the management and maintenance and things will be a little bit easier then as well. And then the other thing that it will also do is it will provide wireless Wi-Fi hotspot, if you want to call it that. Everybody thinks of it that way, but so now sitting here in the commission room, we'll be able to have access to the internet, not only us during commission meetings, but this room gets used a lot for other meetings throughout the year, and they will have access to that. Citizens that come to the meetings can have access to the internet. We have consultants that come in and give us presentations. They can have access to the internet and be able to do that from not only this room, but other rooms throughout the city as well. And I believe it also covers the armory, if I'm not mistaken. So now when we have events that go on in the armory, not only our citizens, but I know like basketball tournament and things like that going on in our city armory, citizens, people of the public, general public can come in and access the internet then as well. So there's some pretty neat things that this will do, and it helps directly our citizens. It helps our city government be a little more efficient, and it also gives us a very high level of security on those networks as well.
Good. Well, congratulations. I don't think we need to take action. It's just a matter of information.
We have to authorize the.
Correct?
Yep, in order to
Oh.
receive the grant, we need to approve this agreement, please, this Community Anchor Institution Sub-Grant Award Agreement.
We need to
And
authorize the
commit
mayor to sign it.
commit ourselves to the
And what?
match.
Do we
so-
need to
Oh.
authorize the mayor to sign it as well?
Please.
Second?
Make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the, let's see, Community Anchor Institution Sub-Grant Award.
Second.
Okay, the motion is made and seconded that we authorize the mayor to sign the Community Anchor Institution Sub-Grant Award Agreement with the South Dakota Bureau of Information and Telecommunications. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor, I want
Yeah.
to just make sure Jen notes that I did not vote on that. I abstained from voting on that.
Okay. Commissioner Waldner abstained.
Should we
Yep.
take up that sidewalk thing on the Lakes Golf Course that we were gonna do? No. Since we've got one of the parties.
Did you sit in your car outside until everyone left, or?
Been waiting all day.
I think I saw
Okay.
Heinemeyer's name on the list.
New business number 2, appointments to the Electric Advisory Committee. Our electric advisor consultant is present, but I think we can probably address this. I believe it's a part of the agreement, Jeff, that we appoint this committee annually. In January. And the members that we're proposing would be reappointments from 2012. And that would be Brad Franken, Randy Hoffman, Jerry Johnson, John Nofskinski, Dustin Williams, with Richard Erickson and Dennis Poppin as 2 ex officio members to the City Electric Advisory Committee.
I'll make a motion to appoint the members that you just listed.
Second.
Okay, the motion is made and seconded then that we reappoint the current members of the Electric Advisory Committee for the year 2013. Any questions or speaking?
Mr. Mayor, I talked to Mr. Heinemeyer about this a little bit, and I think in the future, the committee might come to you with a recommendation to perhaps expand the committee. It's right now 5 with 2 ex officios and perhaps go to 7. But that's not on the table tonight, I don't think.
But that can be done
Later.
That
Later.
can be done later.
Just
Okay,
thought
thank you, yes.
mention.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. New business number 3, review recommendations of the Electric Advisory Committee, and this has to do with the rebate program. And I've asked Jeff Heinemeyer to come, and maybe Jeff, you want to come up, use the mic here, just give us a brief explanation of what the proposals are on the rebate program.
Sure, I'm available to answer any questions, but I believe Dick might be able to address.
You think we,
Well, you can, why don't you go ahead?
I'll come.
do we have all, we want to make sure we have all the information that we
Waiting
need.
to get you in the hot seat for a long time.
Been here before, though.
Once or twice.
Mr. Mayor, the Electric Advisory Committee met in December, and among other things, talked about expanding the rebate program that's been in existence since May 1st of 2012. Heartland has expanded their program to now include, under the residential portion of the program, to include a $200 rebate for a central air conditioning unit, $200 for a heat pump unit, and $600 for a geothermal heating system. And after discussion, the committee recommended and asked the city commission to expand the city's program to include those options in the residential program. In addition, the Heartland program expanded the commercial program to include LED lights. It's been in existence, but it's pretty informal. And they formalized it now by saying that they will rebate $15 for a 10-watt or less bulb and $20 for an LED bulb over 10 watts. And those monies, though I think it needs to be pointed out, would still be included in the $10,000 cap that Heartland allows. And as you may recall, the city went through the $10,000 of the Heartland money fairly quickly and only used it for the commercial rebate programs. And the city, in addition, spent a total of about $20,000 of city funds on the program. So it just about spent the entire budget. 20,000 from the city and 10,000 from Heartland in 2012. So in summary, the committee's asking that even though Heartland has not added any more dollars to it, that the city expand their program to include these items, the residential option and the commercial LED option.
And we're not expanding the city budget. We will operate within the city budget as
Yes,
approved?
correct. You may recall that we did add $5,000 to the city's budget for 2013. So there is $25,000 available.
Sure.
Plus the Heartland $10,000 for a total of $35,000. And it was just coincidental, I mean, it was pure luck that we spent just about exactly what was budgeted in 2012. But remember, though, we didn't start this program until May 1st of 2012. So
we must have had a few. We had some money left in the residential fund, is that correct? Or we kind of had that float over the holidays there, and we must have used some of that then.
we ended up spending just about all the city's funds.
Did-
We allocated $8,000 to the residential program. Oh, the city's funds, yes, we spent.
Do we know, did we utilize any, we allowed 2012 purchases to be used in 2013? Did we need to go into that at all?
No need for that.
Good.
It just hit just perfect. So
Good.
there's no need to come to you to ask that you roll over any leftover money from 2013, nor is there any request that you need to use 2013 money for 2012 rebates.
Good.
I think of the 30,000, we spent approximately $1,000 in advertising,
Mhm.
and then 28,000 plus on the program.
Right.
So
It was 29, yeah, just
Yeah,
about
right.
29, so it was just about 30 altogether.
Yeah.
21 for the commercial program and about, or 21.5 and 7,500 for the residential program. And I believe that Jen has a breakdown of the residential program. You have
How many,
that?
how many
Mhm.
dishwashers? No,
I'd
yeah.
send it to you.
Yeah.
Is there a way at some point we could get an estimate on what the effect of that could be? I know it's just an estimate, but,
Yes.
X number of dryers did,
Yes,
what it
as
should
far
do to our,
as the savings?
well, what it should do to our electrical fund, and savings
Right.
overall.
Yes, that, in fact, the committee talked about that at their last meeting, and they would like that calculated too.
Excellent.
So see what the city and Heartland is saving because of this. But I will say, it has been a very successful and popular program. You may recall that the commercial program is capped at $2,500. The city will pay 50% of a project up to the city cost of $2,500. And there were 3 projects that met that maximum.
Good.
As I talked to Jeff, I was, just so you understand, when Heartland did those things in the committee, suggested that we add we're expanding the menu, but not our budget. You know, so there's more things you can that qualify, but there's no more money to do
Okay.
it, so.
Has the committee looked at potentially the LED lighting for residential users, or not really?
Not yet, no. But I'm sure they will. You may, I don't know if, but some of the federal standards changed January 1st as far as the incandescent lights. They're now going to be phased out.
I think, what, 75 watts
I think
are
they're
gone now?
eliminated now,
Yep.
aren't they?
I think 75 is going, and what's the next one to go, 100?
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's done.
Right. And
Yeah.
any of these type light, the tube type lights that haven't been switched over to the new, the
Back,
B6 or whatever,
back.
can't get those anymore either? It's-
Heartland does have some grant money available too, and you may recall that the city benefited from that on a couple small projects at the airport, the recycling building last year, right? Wasn't it the recycling building?
And the city shop.
And the city shop, right. And I don't think that we're done.
I mean, do we, I mean, because we,
How about this room? Is
I
that,
know
I-
this
I-
room, Armory,
the armory, that has to be a huge use of power. That would be a great one to
right?
get brought into this
there's some
century.
bulbs out here.
I think the questions about savings are very timely and important, because as we always do at budget time, talk about what a large portion of our budget is, our electrical costs. And, you know, when you think about we're spending $25,000, it seems like a lot of money, but not a lot of money in relationship to the size of the electric budget. So I think it's very worthwhile. It's going in the right direction. If we're gonna save money somewhere, that's obviously, it's the biggest player in the building.
Good.
And I will get with Jen too, and we've already talked about the application form. It went real well in our office, finance office, for the first year, and expand the application form. And I think it's very simple and easy for the customers to understand. But Jen's been accepting those and signing off on them, and approving them.
Well, we'll need a motion then to adopt or approve the recommendations of the Electric Advisory Committee concerning the 2013 rebate program.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move to adopt the recommendations of the Electric Advisory Committee as to adding the items indicated in, as Mr. Heinemeier has designated them, to the list of available, I think, options for the program.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we approve the recommendations as proposed by the Electric Advisory Committee for the additions and changes to the 2013 rebate program for our city electric customers. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion is carried. The business number 4.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Think I'll leave.
Appointments to the Community Center Board.
You might want to stay for
Yeah,
this
you should
next
stay
one.
for this one.
I might want to stick with this.
Highly
This
contested.
could be a little difficult here. As we're all aware, the Community Center Governing Board is made up of representatives appointed by Dakota State University and also from the city of Madison, or actually the community. I think the bylaws read, Chad, that you do not need to be a resident of Madison per se to serve on this board. But you do have to be a member of the community center, I believe. And we have 2 openings that would be on our appointment side, or what I would call the city community side. Mr. Al Weisbecker has elected not to continue on the community center governing board, and also Sue Schofield has decided not to continue. So those are 2 positions then to be appointed. And before I recommend the appointments there, I want to publicly state that we are all very appreciative of the very dedicated and active participation of Al Weisbecker and Sue Schofield over several years in this board, because they meet monthly, and this is the one that takes care of the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month operation of the community center. And so with those two openings, we have permission to submit the names of Jeff Heinemeyer and Bernie Skirmans, representing the city community side on that board, and I would entertain a motion then for their appointments, effective tonight.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion is made and seconded that we approve the appointments of Jeff Heinemeyer and Bernie Skirmans to the Community Center Governing Board. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. New business number 5. Designate depositories for municipal funds. The recommendations are that our designated depositories for the coming year, we have to do this on an annual basis, would be Wells Fargo Bank, First Bank and Trust, Great Western Bank, the South Dakota FIT, which is the investment trust, First National Bank, East River Federal Credit Union, Dakota Land Federal Credit Union. Jen, do you have any comment on any? These are the same as we've had before.
Same as in the past.
I'd make a motion to designate our official depositories as listed.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we designate the depositories for municipal funds for the city of Madison for the year 2013 to be Wells Fargo Bank, First Bank and Trust, Great Western Bank, South Dakota Investment Trust, First National Bank, East River Federal Credit Union, Dakota Land Federal Credit Union. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. New business number 6, designate legal newspaper. This is for publications of city proceedings, and the designated entity here is the Madison Daily Leader.
I would move, Mr. Mayor, to designate the Madison Daily Leader as the official legal newspaper for the city of Madison.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that the Madison Daily Leader be designated the legal newspaper for city publication for 2013. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. To business number 7, establish the 2013 election date. The suggested date is April 9th, 2013. That would be the second Tuesday in April.
Correct.
Jen, do you want to describe any other details on
Sure.
nominating petitions, the schedule?
Don't have that with me, but the city vacancy will be that of mayor. I have visited with the school, Mitch up at the school, and they will have 3 vacancies, 4 school board members. So we are planning, don't have details worked out yet, but we are planning a joint election for this April 9th date.
And you will have the, date and place and
Correct.
initial date for taking out petitions and then end date for filing of petitions. You'll have that available for the news
Yes.
media
Have
here.
already talked to Sue about it, yes.
Okay, I've
but-
already got that on our side. So we would need that a motion to establish that date, and do you want to include in the motion then to hold that in conjunction with the Madison School District election?
Yes.
David says yes.
I would make a motion to establish the 2013 election date as April 9th, 2013, to be held in conjunction with the Madison School Board election at a place and time to be determined.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that April 9th, 2013 be established as the city and Madison Central School District election date to be held jointly at that time. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried. New business number 8, the 2013 salary listing. This is an annual legal requirement for all persons employed by receiving a paycheck from the city of Madison for publication. And are there any changes to the
Nope.
printed
What you
matter?
have is-
Everything is as presented.
Correct.
Make a motion to approve the 2013 salary listing.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the 2013 salary listing for city employees. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Now, business number 9, declare surplus property, water meters. Fred?
We have approximately 300 used water meters in our meter change-out program that we've collected and would like permission to declare those surplus and advertise those for sale. We believe that a smaller municipality that's not looking at radio read technology would be able to use some of these meters. So if we could get those approved and get the surplus, we could go and get that advertised and get these meters out from under our feet. We have no use for them whatsoever. They don't fit with our meter change-out program or the technology we're installing, so this would benefit a smaller type community that would not be as funded as Madison is to do that type of program.
Those will be advertised then?
Yes, sir.
We don't need an appraisal on that, do we?
I think-
As long as they're going to be advertised for sale?
I think we could come up with a dollar amount per meter, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So should we appraise them?
Or do we need to?
They need to be appraised.
Okay.
I'll move to declare the approximately 300 surplus water meters as surplus property, and I would also appoint Fred and myself and Chad as the appraisers.
Second.
Okay, the motion is made and seconded that we declare surplus property, should we say approximately 300 water meters? Okay, used water meters for sale, and that Fred Snyderly, Chad Comus, and Commissioner Erickson will serve as appraisers for the named items. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. New business number 10. Bills for approval and bills for ratification.
Make a motion to approve and ratify the bills.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve and ratify the bills as presented. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Under announcements and other business, we have a call for an executive session under SDCL 1-25, 2(3). Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So move.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. 6